My fairy's acting like he's not even upset that he's not at the house and that he's at someone else's house.
He only cares about his food. That's what I tell you. No, you don't listen to me. Whatever.
I told her he doesn't even know he's been given away. He just thinks that he's at a babysitter's house for the day or something.
No, he's probably glad to be gone. Well, he probably is. He's stuck up in a cage his whole life. He'd be better off on the wall here. Are you ready?
Hi, I'm Mr. Amazing. This is the Inside Out with Mr. Amazing podcast, and this to my right is Kimberly.
I'm not Kimberly. I'm an impacted justice human being. I was in prison for 12 years. I used to be a lesbian, but now I'm not. That's funny. Wow. Why are we in the same clothes? 4 podcasts in a row.
We never get a break.
That's what it is. It's okay.
I need y'all to do a podcast in each other's.
Oh, we should do a podcast where I'm wearing a mustache.
Let's go.
Uh,
And then I can wear my sleeves.
yeah, is you gonna be tattooed?
I can be.
You can act like you're her and then just be
Yeah,
silly and
that'd be so
do
funny.
stuff like that. I used to be a lesbian and now I'm not. And
I know, but I'm silly anyway. Yeah, I'm a little goofy anyway. All right, so I don't even know who you are here to my right.
This is Eva.
Eva.
Yeah, this is Eva. Eva, introduce yourself.
There's a camera right there. Go ahead and look at it.
What did I just say? My name's Eva Shelton.
Yeah, my name's Eva. I spent this many years in prison. And
Yeah. You spend.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. My name is Eva. I did almost 18 years in prison.
Yeah, that's insane, right?
That is a long time.
Oh, well, actually, no, it was almost 19 because
Yeah.
I only had like 6 months on parole.
Mm.
So when I got out.
So you had 19 years and a couple of wake-ups when
Yes.
you were home?
Couple of wake-ups. Oh my God! So she made parole during COVID, right?
You did?
Yes.
And we had went on lockdown, and
Yeah.
we were so we were freaking out, thinking that she wasn't going to get to go out because during COVID, if you were locked down, you couldn't leave
You couldn't? Why not?
because you're on medical restriction because of it was during the height of COVID. She saw it coming too. She saw COVID coming because she used to get on my nerves and watch the news all the time. And she used to tell me every day, it's going to happen. We're going to be shut down.
Yeah. I had a COVID journal and nobody cared. They were like, Eva, you're the only one that cares about COVID until the first case of COVID hit the prison. And then everybody's like, Eva, are we going to die? And I said, no, it only kills 1 in 100. And I was like, there's 100 people in this dorm. I said, this is who's going to die because they're overweight. They have heart problems. They're diabetic.
So you said you right there. You're
Yes.
going to die because you're
said,
fat.
And I said, I'm sorry, you're going to die. And the rest of us are going to live.
Wow.
But
How encouraging.
everybody else's mind was at ease.
So did that lady die?
Nope.
No.
She made parole.
She made
parole.
parole. She's living a long, prosperous
How
life.
do you know? She probably died when she got home.
Well, we follow her on Facebook.
Facebook.
Oh, yeah, all right. COVID, that's one thing I didn't care about. I never followed the rules. I didn't wear the mask as much as I wanted to. People wanted to. I just never got the shot, never did any of that.
Yeah, I didn't get the shot, but I wore my mask and I followed the rules because I had to.
Yeah, well, you had to.
Or you didn't go to commissary or
Well,
anything.
the masks that you guys had, they weren't doing any good.
Oh,
That was
no.
just stupid.
Most of the time we wore them as chin straps.
Yeah. I know it had a little piece of metal thing in there. I'm like, that doesn't look like a good idea.
Oh, we
either,
didn't even
but-
get the metal thing.
Oh, you didn't?
No, we
it
got
just-
some
it was a piece of
TDCJ
material.
clothes
Oh,
that
you
were
did?
cut into squares, and then
Oh,
they had
yeah.
a string
Yeah.
tied around.
It's like a mask. It wasn't even a mask. It was like a veil.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
it was. And then I know where those came from. Those came from the old guys' uniforms. They cut them into smaller pieces for you girls. Anyway, so you were in prison for a long time. Holy smokes. I'm afraid to ask you why you were there because I may have to move over to the yellow chair.
Yeah, I had a first-degree murder charge.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I got to move. All right. Wow. Well, they let you go.
They did.
Okay.
But I followed the rules and got my GED, went to college. I was always a good girl.
Okay.
But-
Just one little
Yeah,
mishap.
just one day.
I think you were a unit reporter as well, right? You
Yes.
were like a writer. She's an
Yes.
exceptional writer. writing contests. Used to write for the Echo.
Oh, so what you're saying is you and I are exact opposites.
Yes.
Okay. I dropped out of high school. I could care less about reading. Who cares about that stuff? I don't write nothing. Yeah.
Most
okay.
people don't care about reading unless you go to prison. Then you're an avid reader because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing else to do.
That's probably true. That's probably true. So you've been out. How long you been out?
2000. About 4 years, I believe.
Okay. You're a much better reader than you are at math.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know you good enough to be
Yeah.
cracking jokes like that.
No, it's
But if-
perfectly
I know
fine.
she's
If
fine.
you're friends with Kim, then open fair game.
We were great friends.
Yeah.
We were best friends.
Even though she didn't trust me. She said nobody's that nice without an alternative reason.
Well, she probably did think that.
Yep.
Yeah, she doesn't think that anymore.
No, I don't.
No.
I've grown.
Yeah, you have grown.
I've grown a lot over the last 3 years that I've been out.
You actually grew, but then you shrunk because you went on a diet.
I know, but we just ruined our diet.
No, I didn't ruin my diet because that wasn't that big of a deal.
You don't think that was a big deal what I ate?
No,
I
don't think
scanned
so.
it with my food app. It says 720 calories.
That wasn't that bad because you didn't have the roll
Or the mashed potato.
or the mashed potatoes. So you know what? You're still on your diet. You
Okay.
need barely out of salad.
Made me feel great about myself. Thanks.
And they probably burnt 200 calories taking the bathroom picture. So.
You probably did. Yeah, we got to get out of that. So, the bathroom pictures. So, this podcast here, between our last couple podcasts, Kim had this ferret. And I really wanted just the ferret just to be up on the wall because I think that'd be super cool to have a ferret up on the wall. But Kim didn't want to do that. She wanted to give it to somebody she doesn't even know. So
I know this person.
some complete stranger took her ferret from her, where it would have been just better every week she could have came and looked at it up mounted
Oh my
on the wall.
gosh. No.
I wonder if you take a taxiderm, if you take a ferret to the taxidermy, they just laugh at you.
I don't know. I think people probably take their dead animals there and because they
Yeah,
want
but
to
a
keep them
ferret?
forever. So I'm sure that maybe someone's taken a ferret. It's part of the weasel family, and they're actually hunting animals. They go hunting for rabbits.
Okay. Well,
They're also a hunted animal. So.
They are also hunted animals too, but they're pretty fast. I don't know.
humans aren't eating those things. No, those things are disgusting. So anyway, so you were incarcerated. Where did you wind up going? Would you have? Man, you must have been in Hobby.
No,
You never went to Hobby?
No.
Wow.
Magically missed that one.
Magically, or was it Jesus?
Well, could have been Jesus
Could have
because they did a huge chain. I was on crane unit for almost my entire time. They
Really?
did a huge pull off a crane unit, moved probably 200-300 people off one night and
Oh my
just
God.
loaded them on buses and stuff. I was working in the property room at the time, so I was packing property, sent them to Hobby, Lane Murray. And I was like, please, please, please don't let me go to Hobby. I just don't want to go to Hobby. 2 days later, woke me up and they were like, pack up. And I was like, I said, am I going to Hobby? And they were like, no, you're going to Lockhart.
Oh wow, you lucked out. You
Yeah.
could have just walked to Lane Murray from there.
Yeah, could have.
So was it a Riverside?
Yeah, I did. I was on all of them pretty much except for the trustee camp. But I went to Valley, Riverside, Sycamore, Terrace.
Been to all those places.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you ever go to church at any of those?
I did. I was in the faith-based dorm on Terrace and the Toomey dorm.
So you were around when Chaplain Thorpe was there. Not Thorpe. Chaplain, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Man, I'd lost it.
He has chicken brain.
I know, it's too bad because I'm friends with this guy too and I can't think of his last name.
Oh, I hope he doesn't watch the
I
podcast.
know, sorry.
You're not our
I
friends
can't remember
anymore.
his name either.
You can't
I can
remember
see
his
him.
name? You do?
Yeah.
It's hard when you get out to like remember that
Yeah.
kind of stuff sometimes.
This should not be hard. This is not hard for me.
I know we had a
Thorne? Thorpe?
No, he's the one that's he's the chaplain now at Woodman. That's why I'm thinking that. But Merlin, dang it. First time I met him, he was dressed like a pimp, and I thought,
Yeah.
holy smokes.
That's what we all called him too.
Yeah, nice guy.
Yes.
Pimp?
Yeah.
No, you didn't call him. Well, I didn't call him that.
No.
Chaplain Pimp?
But no, we didn't call him that to his face. but
Oh,
behind his
okay.
back.
To put it to his back. Yeah, super nice guy. So maybe we ran across each other sometime. You just don't remember.
Maybe.
I have a face that people forget.
How How does anyone forget your face?
I don't have any idea. They just do.
You have a huge mustache on
Yeah,
it.
I know. It's awesome. But there's a lot of girls in the prison system that wish they had this. Like on their face because...
Very true.
I know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, they take shots to get that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some taking shots to get it. So.
Some taking shots to get it. Yeah, it's a whole different experience. So you were, most of the time you were over there at in Gatesville, and then you went to Lockhart. So how long were you there?
Was that 2 years?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, not too bad.
No.
You in the faith-based dorm over there?
No.
She was
I
in my
lived with
dorm.
Kimberly.
Oh. In what?
We lived in 2 Alpha, and then I ended up putting her name out there and got her a job in industry.
Okay.
And she
now-
worked in the work program with me.
Okay. Then how do you wind up in the smallest town in Texas?
Well, actually, I was in the even smaller town.
Cherokee?
No, Melvin.
Oh, okay.
Because
been
that's where
through-
my mom
I've
lives.
been
That's
through
where,
Melvin before.
yeah, I paroled out and moved in with my mom there in Melvin, Texas.
And then how do you wind up in Richland Springs?
I met a guy online.
Met a guy online. Wow, this is going to get interesting.
They've
Wow.
been together a long time, though.
Is he still online?
No, I don't think so.
You don't know? You don't think so? Oh,
You never know. I see those Facebook videos where they're like, "Do you think your person's online?" And they're like, "No, they're not." Oh, is this them?
So you're telling me you are in a... This is none of my business. I don't really know her good enough to ask these questions.
Yeah, I'm just like Kimberly. If you can ask Kimberly, you can ask me.
She met someone online, and they started dating, and now they're in a relationship in real life.
In Richland Springs.
In
Yes.
Richland Springs.
Oh, okay.
He drives a big truck,
He drives a truck.
and so does she. Did you not see her truck out there?
No.
It's a big orange truck.
You got a big orange truck?
Yes, and we all drive Chevys. That's why I told her, Kimberly, I knew you were a cool guy because you have a Chevy also.
Well, that's kind of weird because usually I drive Fords.
That's
Oh.
terrible.
And she said,
You would say
terrible.
that, but you didn't see my last Ford because it looked super cool.
Yeah.
Now I own that Dodge out there.
When she
Trying to
first
get rid
got
of
out, the first truck she got was a big blue lifted truck.
Tacoma.
Okay. Well, how about this? Since you know Kimberly, you got any Jesus stuff, or why don't you give us a story about Kimberly that we don't know about? Because I know pretty much a lot about her, but I don't know everything because
Yeah.
she just gives you little tidbits every once in a while.
Well, my favorite story, it doesn't really have much to do with Jesus, but we were going to work one day and we went out the door and you had to go across the sidewalk into the other door, and we go out and she's like, "Ah!" And we're like, she said, "Oh, it's just grass." And there's grass blowing across the sidewalk.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was always my favorite story. It scared her to death.
Oh, was that right after you left the pill window?
No.
Huh?
It was dark. I thought it was like something crawling.
And it was grass?
They
Clippings?
just mowed the day
Wow.
before, and it was just grass.
Okay.
Thanks, Eva. Now you made me look like a dork.
Well, yeah, she's a dork.
Yes, she is.
She doesn't look like a dork. She is one.
No, so Tom's being kind of awkward because he doesn't know you.
I am
So,
being kind of awkward.
how comfortable are you talking about like before prison?
I'm fine.
Okay, so leading up to prison, like what kind of situations did you see yourself in that got you there?
Well, I was in a abusive relationship. Man, kind of just held prisoner in the house for 5.5 years. Separated me from my family. Didn't allow me to go anywhere, do anything. Just wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. If I went to town with his grandmother, I had to tell him when we were leaving, when we would be back. And if we weren't back when we said we would be back, then he would come to town and find me. So
Wow.
Yeah.
pimp me out to his friends for drugs,
Mm.
beat me.
Yeah, so like I imagine like going through that, it probably had a lot to do with a lot of trauma was like, on your self-worth and like how you saw yourself as a person and a woman and value, right?
Yeah.
And so you did say what your charge was,
Mm.
but you don't have to, give a story or whatever. So if you don't want to.
No, I don't care.
Okay. So what led up to you actually going in? Like, what is that story? I
Well-
think I know the story.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important, just to show like what, can happen to a
Yeah.
person.
Give you a second. That right there happens to so many girls.
It does. It
happens
does.
to so many girls because you know what? There's a bunch of bonehead guys out there who have no self-esteem, and they treat their girls like dirt to feel better about themselves, but it's actually their own low self-esteem that causes that.
It is.
And then once you're trapped, it's hard to get out.
It is. So like, like these, people, and women do it too. So like people, like they like tear down other people in order to make them, because they're dealing with their own stuff, because they feel low about their own selves, but we just don't really like to admit that, and I love Eva's story, even though it's hard to hear if like you're not used to these kind of stories. But I was in prison for, and I've heard a lot of them. But I love Eva's story because like the person, if you knew who she is, like if you've known her, she is the sweetest, kindest, most generous. I used to make fun of her and get onto her all the time and tell her, stop being the welcoming committee, stop being nice, stop being like this, because
stop being nice.
It was just too much for me. Like, she's just overly nice. I mean, I'm not like that now. I've like,
No, I know what you mean, because I've had people in my life before said, dude, just tone it down a little bit. You don't have to be this nice to me.
Yeah, but
she's generally nice.
But what she went through and like what her trauma caused her to do, and then the person she's become after 18 years in prison.
That's a long time. Wow.
And like a hard prison, not like a cupcake prison.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Like, I just think it's a really great redemption story of like what the human can go through.
Yeah.
But so you were going through this abusive relationship with this person who, and I think you had kids with them?
Yes.
Yeah, so
two boys.
You had 2 boys with this person, so like if you're comfortable saying like what happened.
Yeah. Well, I just, we were in the relationship a long time, and I just honestly believed that if I loved him enough and did everything correctly, that he wasn't going to hit me anymore, and that he was going to love me back. And, and then it got to the point that I really wanted to leave, but he always kept telling me, if you leave, I'm going to kill the kids and all this stuff. So then I just became trapped in the situation. And so I was coming back from town with his grandmother, and we had got hit from behind by a car, and they were on their way to the liquor store and wasn't paying attention to the car in front of them. So we all had to go to the hospital, get checked out and everything. And so they had gave me some painkillers because my neck was hurting and stuff, but I didn't take them. And so they were just in the cabinet. Well, the day of my crime, I found out later that he had crushed up the pills and put them in a drink and stuff and was having me drink it. And so from like 10 p.m. to midnight, I blacked out. I don't remember anything at that time, but I guess when I had came back in, I guess to awareness and stuff, I had called 911 and told them to come get him or I was going to kill him. And they weren't coming out there, it was icy outside. We lived out on Lake Road. It was middle of February, and so ended up stabbing him one time. And I called 911 back, told him that he was dying. I needed an ambulance. The ambulance never arrived. It took the cops 45 minutes from the second 911 call to arrive at the house, so he had already passed away when they got there. And so they went ahead and took me into prison and, into jail and all that stuff. His grandmother bonded me out the next morning. We lived with her, so she knew, that he was abusive and crazy. And she was, she had told me, she said, I don't want to say it, but it's a relief that he's gone. She said, because I don't have to worry anymore, because he didn't ever do anything to her. But she had seen the abuse with other females that he had been with and everything, and so she had tried to get me to leave when we first got together. She's like, you really don't want to be with him, but I just thought that I could save him, if I was just nice enough and loved him enough.
She was Mrs. I Can Save Him. That's who she was. We
I know, it's crazy.
So we always, especially Tom, always warns girls, like, whenever you get out or whenever you're getting your life together, don't fall for Mr. Smokable. The guys don't need to fall for Mrs. I Can Fix Them.
Yep.
So
yeah, and then a lot of times, which I'm not saying it's you, I'm saying it's Kim. No, but a lot of times, girls, the reason why, like, I don't know why you stayed with this guy, but a lot of times you get involved in these because you just want to be loved so much because something happened when you were younger, some sort of trauma, or somebody left you, or somebody didn't care. And you just want to be loved so much that somebody starts to treat you a little nice, and then you fall for them, and then they then they turn.
Yes.
And then it's hard to get, and then they hit you, and then you go back to the honeymoon stage where they're nice to you, and then you think, okay, and then they hit you again, and then it's back to being nice to you again.
Vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. So maybe there may have been some of that in your life before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I had a pretty crappy childhood growing up, so
Yeah.
sexually abused. My dad went to prison when I was 15, found out that he was molesting my little stepsister because she kept not wanting to go back to my house, and I was staying with them, and I was like, you have to tell me why you don't want to go to my house. And then that she had told me, so I just looked up the number to the child abuse hotline, gave it to her mom, and I was like, hey, you need to call this number, and told her what she had told me and everything, so Dad went to prison, kind of just left me. That just kind of left me out in the cold. So
yeah. And then it's hard maybe later on, because then you're thinking God's going to do that to you too.
Yeah.
Which he just doesn't do that. But sometimes you feel as though he's
Yeah,
going to.
we go through these. We definitely go through those moments. I've been in that moment, and I think you've shared. And where you just kind of like, God's just not the first thing that you think about when you're going through that kind of stuff. And then so after this, you get sentenced, right? Like,
yeah.
Fast forward, like dudes, having to wait. You get sentenced to prison. So what was that like? Like hearing that you're gonna get that.
I don't know. I kind of knew that it was going to happen. I had a dream prior, and mysteriously it was J.R.R. Tolkien that was speaking to me in the dream.
That's
that
the guy. She reads a lot of books.
Yeah. That's like The Hobbit and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I like it too.
Yeah.
He came to me in Bilbo Baggins, dressed up as Bilbo Baggins. Yeah.
But I don't. But they said they're going to give you 3 offers, take the fourth. Or there's going to be 3 offers, take the 4th one. And so I just automatically did it. Because the dream just was so powerful and stuff. And they're like, but my trial was supposed to start the next day, and so my lawyer wanted to know what I would sign for in order not to go to court and waste their money. So I told them I'd sign for less than 20, so they gave me 19 and a half. And so I signed the paper for the 20. For the 19.
Wow.
Yeah, because then you could have been looking at life if you went to trial.
Because I met numerous people in there, doing life sentences for basically the same things.
But they probably cut you some slack just because of the abusive relationship. You would think that they would cut you a little bit of slack after you've been beat down and manipulated.
It's not how the system works.
Maybe they just don't, right?
Especially back then.
Yeah. Well, they said, Texas didn't have, I don't know if they do now, I believe they do, but they didn't have a domestic abuse law.
Yeah.
You could kill somebody like in the spur of the moment and like for temporary insanity or something.
Like crime of passion.
Yes. But since I had called 911 prior to doing it, then that became premeditated.
Dude, I hate it when I call 911 and it costs me. It cost me 19 years by one phone call. I hate those 3 numbers.
I think getting 911 call, it's either like take it out to ambulance or some kind of injury. You're paying some kind of bill.
Yeah. This time you really paid for it, though.
18 years. So, you are, what I know about you, Tom doesn't know you, right? He's never had that, but I've lived with you for, 2 years, worked with you, lived with you. You're like...
You guys were in the same...
Yes. I could look out my door and talk to her from her door.
You
when
weren't
we were
in
on
the
lockdown.
same...
Not in the same cell. We were in the exact same door. We can look at each other diagonally. But we sat by each other, you know, and we did a lot of things together. She's obsessed with Christmas. Ugh, it's disgusting.
She's actually obsessed with Halloween.
She's actually obsessed with every holiday, but whatever. She has
Time out. You're going to have to edit that. Choking on my Christmas carol. Sorry.
Were you about to be wise? A wise...
Mm-hmm. Wow.
A wise cracker?
Whatever you do, don't call 911.
So, she's the kindest, most generous person. She could literally have nothing but one Snickers, and you're like, hey, can I have that Snickers? She's giving it to you. And won't do it, you know, she doesn't complain about it. She doesn't say anything about it. She does it with a smile, and she's just
Yeah, on the outside, on the inside, I'm like, I really wanted that Snickers later.
like. So how did you make it through that many years in prison with that demeanor still, with the way you are?
You know, when I went in, I was pregnant, and I went through Texas City, and I'd meet girls down there, you know, and I'd tell them they'd be having a really hard time, and and I would just sit there, talk to them, you know, and everything, trying to get them to, because they'd be crying and everything, and I'd be like, you know, I said, I'm going to be in here. You're going to go home in a couple of months. You know, a lot of them are just there, state jails and stuff, you know, and I said, I'm going to be here until my kids graduate high school, you know. I said, I'm never going to get to see him walk, see his first day of school. None of my children, I'm going to go, you know, be at any of their school things. Like, my oldest two were already in college by the time I was released. My youngest one that I had while I was locked up had graduated high school, you know, so I missed all of that. But it just, you know, and then there were people that were coming in that were getting bigger sentences, and they were like, what do you do? And I said, you have to get out of the world. I said, as long as you concentrate on what you're missing, you're never going to be happy in here, because you're always going to worry about what you do not have. Because I had somebody, you know, before we got phones and stuff, and we'd get the one phone call every 90 days and stuff, you know, somebody had called and they came in crying because they could hear the grandfather clock in the background of their house, you know, and it was just like those little things. But I told them, I said, you almost have to make a family in here.
Before they got phones. That's how long ago she was in prison. Her prison number's 123.
Is it really?
No.
It was 1144.
That's even less than that. Exactly. Wow. So you go to prison, and you've been out for how long? 3 years?
When COVID hit in 2001.
So
yeah, so
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So you wow. So when you go in, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, when you get out, man, technology has changed so much. Because the prison system, they got a little bit of technology, but not they're still behind the times.
Yes.
I don't even know if they had laptops when she went in.
Yeah.
No, we had, you know, we didn't even really have cell phones when I went in, because like my ex's grandparents, they had one in the phone that was only for, in their car that was just for dialing 911. Like, nobody had a cell phone.
Yeah, the bag phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you must have went in with the pager, and you get out and say, where's my pager? And everybody's like, what is that?
But so
I would always tell people I wasn't going to get a cell phone when I got out, and they were like, you can't survive without a cell phone.
Yeah.
And it's so
Isn't
true.
that crazy?
Yeah,
Because you're thinking you could survive, but now everybody's got one. Even little kids got one.
Yeah, and everything was online. And I remember I had to do something for parole that was online, and I called them and I was crying, and I was like, I just can't figure this out. I don't know how to do it. And the lady was like, calm down. She said, I got it. She said, I'm going to talk you through it. You know, she's like, okay, push on this on your phone. Now she says, what's it say? She's like, okay, click this button. And I was like, because I didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, and then you know what? Not everybody can translate that either.
Yep.
You know, some people are really good at it. You're like, okay, and other people, they can't communicate. The next thing you know, you're throwing your phone.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. You know what? We know a guy that's in San Saba right now. We know a couple guys that have got some long sentences. And you know what? He's just a super nice guy. I'm not saying as nice as you, but you know what? Been in prison for a long time.
we talk about JJ.
JJ, 16, 18 years. You know, and he went up for parole, and they gave him a 2-year set off. Like I think they used to get 1 year set offs, and then they changed it to where you can get a 2-year, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But you know what? He's like what you're saying. He's using that like that's his house and that's where he lives, and you know.
He's super encouraging. Super generous.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of great people that are in prison, right? But then there's always some knuckleheaders ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because then when you get out, you probably didn't have anybody protesting, though, did they?
Not that I know of. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he did still have some of his family, you know, they might have protested, I'm not sure, but
if they already knew what was going on.
yeah, but some of them were in denial of the situation, and And then it's like when you're out of that situation, look back on it, and there was like so much more I could have done, should have done, like I should have just left. He probably wouldn't have done anything. But when you're, but you forget when you're trapped in that situation that you can't.
When you're living in fear.
Yes.
When you're living in fear.
We always like to talk about when you're living in the lie, right?
Yeah.
So when you're living in the lie, that's all you can do. That's all, you're stuck there, that you're trapped there. This is what I get,
Or next thing you know, he's spending 20 years because you're the one that gets stabbed in the
Yes.
chest or beat up or whatever.
Then I never would have met you.
Yep.
Then you wouldn't have been blessed with me.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So
It was worth the 19 and a half years, wasn't it?
To be Kimberly in the long run.
yeah. So
In the dog run?
In
the long run.
Oh, I was going to
So-
say, you met her in that dog pound over there at Lockhart? That's where Carrie came from.
I would never wanted to live in the dog dorm, even though I love animals. I don't like. That's too many dogs.
Yeah.
That's too many animals for
That's
me.
too many animals.
But so, what do you think was like? Because when we go to prison, we all learn something about ourselves, about our faith, about our strength. What was like a pivotal moment for you? Even if you know like what year it was,
Yep.
down to the second, because I know that's how you are.
I kind of like it when you're asking questions.
Why?
Well, because that way I don't have to answer. Or I don't have to ask all the questions.
Yep.
Well, it's just I know her more
I
than
know
you.
that. I know.
I think the most defining moment was taking cognitive intervention for the second time, just because I could. There wasn't much I could do with that long of a sentence that they would allow me to do, because it was all for the people gonna get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just take classes that were available. And we had a question, and it said, if you could go back and do things the day of your crime and do something different, would you? And I just broke down. I was crying, like I had to leave the classroom, and like go to the bathroom for a few minutes, come back. And so
Take a
when I
selfie.
had read my
Take a selfie.
pa-
Well, in prison, you have to draw a selfie.
You got to draw a
Yeah.
selfie.
So when I came back, I read my thing, and I said that if I could go back, then no, I would not do the same thing. And I said, and that was like the first time that I realized that I did have a choice in that. I said that if I did go back, that I would have done the same thing, because it had come to the point that was me or him, and that I had to give up all of that, because you live in that thing where, like I said, you're in that, I should have left, should have did this. And then, and then she's like, if you could go back to that single moment, and it's like, what do you decide, like that you're, that terrible fear of, do you do what you did or you didn't do, but it was just that moment of, lying to yourself and trying to convince yourself and everything of all this stuff, but it's just, I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore.
He does that all the time. He does it all the time. So,
Here, hold on.
do you have a question?
No, but we just talked about this. Any second there could be a situation that changes your whole life,
Yes.
right? You don't wake up in the morning thinking, I'm going to stab this guy right in the face. Not that you stabbed him in the face, but maybe you did. I know that's probably not nice,
Yeah.
but you didn't think that was going to happen in the morning, and then something happens, and next thing you know, you're sitting. At the end of the day, you're sitting in county jail.
Yes.
Right? And then you just think, how many times, we need to pay attention to our situation, because it could cost us 18 or 19 years, or it could save us from something. So from here on in, you're right. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm actually talking to people that are, going to watch this, that, you have to be careful about your situation, because any situation could go negative. And the situation that this young lady has is, was it the truth? No, because she could have got out. She could have left and then dealt with the consequences. But you're listening, not on your case, but listening to the lie of, you don't have that option. and then what happens, there's an ungodly action at the end of it. Or you go to God's truth, which you may not have known at the time, because I don't know how your relationship with Jesus is. But, maybe you have to go to God's truth, that God is there. God will protect you. God will help you out. And sometimes you have to leave, and then you just have to, even if you're standing on the corner, say, God, here I am. I need some help right now. You never know who's going to drive by. You never know who's going to get you out of this scenario. But you have to live by faith in that situation. Not on your case whatsoever, because we all goof stuff up, right?
Yep.
So for you, pay attention to your situation, because I'm tired of living the lie. I'm tired of living and then finding out later it was a lie. I'm like, oh my gosh, I fell for it. And then I'm making all sorts of bad choices all over a lie instead of making choices over the truth.
Yes.
But if you stop, there's so many lies that we're being told all the time. Like way many lies than the truth.
Yeah, like, and a lot of them are oftentimes like, our inner voice telling us that, like, we're not worthy, we have no value, like, we'll never get anything better, we don't deserve better, like, this is, the way it's always been. And that, that is the lie that we often get told. And a lot of the times it's our own self-talk. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's been beat into our minds.
Or you had somebody tell you.
Or we've had someone tell us.
You can't do it, like this guy. I'm sure that he told you stuff like, you never make it without me. Nobody will love you like me. I mean, it's like guys have like 5 things that they jump on, and that's it. That they're so stupid they only got a Rolodex of 5 cards.
Rolodex of 5.
Right? I mean, that's it. It's the smallest Rolodex ever.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, those little 5 things work a lot of times.
Yes.
So, fast forward.
Your turn.
You're out of prison.
Fast forward. It's only been like 4 years, so it's not that fast.
Well, so you're out of prison, right? Brand new technology, brand new world altogether. But you haven't, like, resorted to anything that's going to send you back.
No.
You work your tail off. Like, she's a very hard worker, right? You work your tail off. You've, like, built a life for yourself after all those years of nothing and coming out with a whole brand new nothing. So how...
You're right, come out with nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. That long.
No.
And then...
No, we stopped at Goodwill as I was leaving.
Goodwill.
To get, some clothes. And I remember I told the lady that was there, like the manager, and I said, I've been in prison for over 18 years. I said, I don't even know what size clothes I wear. And the bathrooms were locked down, changing rooms and stuff because COVID, I always joke with Kimberly about it when I was getting out. I said I was supposed to have gotten out in February, but we got locked down for the weather, got locked down for COVID. Like there was no in and moving.
Oh yeah,
in
she
and
got
out
out the
of
year
prison.
that big freeze happened.
Oh my gosh.
With
I remember
COVID?
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so,
Wow.
but that was supposed to have got out in February, and I was like, that's perfect because only 10 people are allowed in the store. You got markers on the thing. You can go this way or that way. I said, and then the day before I got out was when they lifted the ban on Texas and everything was open again. I said, really? Like everything's crowded and stuff, but the lady let me go in there. She said, well, take some clothes in the bathroom. She said, try them on. She said, if a worker tries to stop you, you tell them I said you could. She said, and if a customer tries to say, oh, you're not allowed to take that in there, she said, you tell them I do what I want.
And nothing happened, right? No one messed with you.
No, not at all.
What a way for like God to like show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a person's life. Like that's a big moment. After 18 years, that's probably one of the biggest moments of your life.
Yeah.
And you're going through all these like stressful situation, and just like I feel like God shows up in little ways, So I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you because
And big ways too.
I know that so one thing, I will be completely transparent on this podcast, right? I think Eva is one of the most wonderful people I had met while I was locked up because of who she is and how she didn't let it break her down.
It's a tie between you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I meant you in a different context. You weren't
I know that. I know. I'm just messing with you. I'm throwing out a little uncomfortable.
Is it a fair statement for me to say that I was more of the the real God person in our friendship, whereas you weren't as much into it?
Yeah.
So I am curious to ask you, because I like to ask these questions. How have you seen God show up in your life? Because we've had conversations where it's not like you don't believe in God. It's not you know.
Yeah. I'm not, I mean, I don't know. It's not that I don't believe in him. I don't follow him, I guess. And like he said, could just be out of the fear and distrust of people in general. You know, like I don't trust really anybody at all. And so, but, you know, I mean, when I got out, you know, I had my mom's house to go to. Everything worked out perfectly. When I first got my first truck, you know, I just put a heart on it because I liked it. And the guy calls me and he's like, hey, you want this truck? You want to buy this truck at the car lot? You know, and I was like, hey, I don't got any money. I don't have any money for a down payment. I got with the guy kind of in bad relationship. You know, he's kind of just taking my money. But I had enough and just left. And so, so I didn't have any money saved up or anything. And the guy's like, well, let me see what I can do. He said, because I was in some trouble when I was younger. You know, he said, let me see what I can do. And they had just got the truck in on Friday, and I was driving off with it Monday morning because he called some people, got me a loan. My mom co-signed for me, you know, but she said, who comes out of prison, you know, I think I'd been out 8 months or something, you know, drives off the brand new truck, $200 down, you know, $600.
What, that huge truck?
Yeah.
The truck is as big as your white truck.
But, you know, it was just a little stuff, you know, like he could have just said, oh, yeah, no, it's not happening. Then you ain't got no money to put down. You ain't got nothing. Oh, too bad, because I had no credit, no history, you know, I mean.
Yeah, where you been?
Yeah. It's so, and then the new job I got, I went in, I tried to, you know, I worked a few days stuff. They were going to needed to put me in the computer after about 2 weeks. And so I told the floor manager that was doing the stuff on the computer, I was like, well, I got a felony. And she was like, oh, we don't care about that. You know, she said, our boss is very Christian, believes in giving second chances and stuff, you know. And I said, well, it's a murder charge. And she's like, well, it's all right. She says, as long as you're not going to kill anybody here, we don't care, you know. And so she puts everything in the computer and stuff, you know. And I told her, I said, now that I know you and I know how you are, I said, I know that after I gave you my stuff and I left, I said, I know you were like, whoa, and just like ran out and you were like, come outside, I gotta talk to you. She said, I did.
So do you think like there was something greater working for you? Like
Yeah, 'cause
God
I mean-
working all that out for you after all this
'Cause,
time?
Yeah, I tried really hard, you know, not to go to food service and work in a restaurant because I hate it. But nobody else will give you a chance. They don't believe in anything. Oh, see, my boss is calling right now.
say
You want to
that
talk
ain't-
to him
That's
on the?
Steven's phone.
You want to talk to him on the podcast?
Yeah, that's funny. You need to answer that. We could call a timeout for a minute.
No, we'll talk to my boss. Don't worry. You could have just went and got the phone. We're all talking to him.
So first.
You could tell him what you.
Yeah, this is
What?
first on the podcast. We're gonna talk to someone on the phone.
Hey, are you at work? You're not at work, are you?
No, sir. I'm on a podcast right now.
Do we have any extra fish? You
No.
know, of?
No, we do
An
not.
extra bonnet?
No,
Don't have any.
no.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That's
wait,
all I need.
wait. Don't go.
All
Wait,
right.
no, don't hang up. Are you still there? Hello?
Yeah, why?
Because
I'm
I'm
still here.
oh, because I'm on this Christian podcast thing, and I told them that you're a very Christian man, and I'm trying to get them to come eat at Pepper Belly's, and I was telling them about how you gave me a chance and hired me. And I said, oh,
There you go.
and then you called, and I said, oh, see, there's my boss right there. So
There he is. Look at that. That's divine
Yeah.
appointment right
here,
there.
there's the guy's going to talk to you now.
Hey, this is Tom. So, what made you hire this young lady? Like, you know her past. So, a lot of people probably wouldn't give her the opportunity, and you did. What was the difference there?
I think it's just everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody deserves a chance. I think, you know, as a Christian man, you know, the Lord forgives, and He teaches us to do the same thing. And I'm a big believer on, you know, we make mistakes in our past, but the mistakes we make don't define who we can be in the future.
Yeah, that is so true. You know, that is so encouraging because this podcast actually is in the prison system. And, you know, there's a lot of people that think that there aren't people out there that's going to give them a second chance, and there are. right?
Yes,
Even
sir.
like, I don't know your past, but in mine, I never got caught, but I know that I wasn't perfect. So, sometimes people change, right? We grow up and we change, and it's nice that you're giving her a second opportunity.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. I understand that. They're not getting caught.
Exactly. And then plus she
100%.
said that next time we came into the restaurant that we were going to get 10% off. No.
Well, praise God. We'll do it.
All right, man.
Oh, praise Jesus!
Yeah, that's
So he's
funny.
like, I'll just take it out of her check.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man.
I'll give you off.
All right. Happy
Thank
Easter.
you, sir.
Happy Easter to you.
You too. Happy Easter.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was the first ever on the podcast.
That was good, though.
I like
That
that.
was good, right?
Can we keep that in there?
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
Okay.
I mean, I might cut her off like going to the phone, but
Yeah, I'd cut her off going to the phone, but don't cut her off like, here's my boss.
yeah.
I don't
So
even know
I'm
the
going to be
guy.
completely honest. I was kind of uncomfortable at
Wait,
first
lie?
on
No, go ahead and lie.
No, I'm gonna be honest. Asking Eva to do a podcast episode just because I knew that we're super on fire for Jesus, and she's not. But I do know from plenty of my talks that she believes in something. She believes in a God. She's in the faith-based form. She believes in something,
yeah, I know,
but
but
she
yeah,
is
blush.
very hard-headed. She's very
Okay.
stubborn because of the things she's been through. But it doesn't change like the kind of person. I think it says a lot, about someone's strength that God gives us the strength. Even it's kind of one of those things like I stand at the door and knock.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna keep knocking, right? He's just gonna keep inviting us into situations that are gonna expose us to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our own personal choice to like open the door, and but even without that, like I know that we're a faith-based podcast, but just because we're faith-based doesn't mean that we don't love all people, and we don't believe in all people, and we don't believe in the good in all people. And I just, this is a prison podcast. I think one of the biggest lessons that we can get from Eva's story is like, it doesn't matter how much trauma and hurt and pain you go through. Prison does not have to be the place that hardens you and makes you cold and makes you believe that there's nothing else out there for you, because Eva has remained the exact same way, like the entire time. I've never seen her once change up. Even when I've seen people be ugly, not, I don't know about towards her, but just be not nice. Like she's never changed up. Even when I've had my situation myself where I've kind of been mean.
Oh, I'm sure there was a lot.
And I was not nice, and I'd be like, ugh,
Give me 3 soups!
No, she
Oh.
did make me the most yummiest food sometimes, though.
Oh, really? You know how to cook with the box?
Yes.
She knows how to cook everything. She'd make me like Chinese noodles, and she was like, one time at work, I drilled through my finger
Wow, that
with
would've
a
been
huge drill, and
awesome.
And I
She-
followed the blood trail.
she
You
followed the
did?
blood trail from the drill. Found me. I went and got, it reported it, but it like went through. I needed stitches.
She knows the blood trail. She'd be a good hunter. Right? I'll call her up next time I shoot a deer and it runs off.
but
Yeah, I need your help.
They put me in this thing and wrapped it up, and like I had this.
Oh, I bet it did. It had a giant thing
Yeah.
on there. Said, look at my finger.
And she helped me in those moments because it was kind of hard for me to do some things. Like,
Yeah, like
she's just
washing her clothes and different things.
because you have to hand wash your stuff. She's just a very good person.
Yeah.
And I'm glad her life has turned around. And prison doesn't have to be the place that hardens you. It doesn't have to be the place that makes your spirit ugly. It doesn't have to be the place that makes you feel like there's no hope, because there is hope. Even the really hard-headed knuckleheads, because we have people that come to church and you can tell that they're listening. You can see it in their eyes, but they don't give you any kind of reaction. But for some reason, they're there.
Yeah.
So I think Eva's a really good example of, prison doesn't have to be what makes you.
That's true. So, well, that's good, right?
Yep.
So she's trying to tell you, man, snap out of it and start trusting Jesus a little bit more. That's what she's trying to
I've
say.
been telling her that.
Telling me
I know
there's
she
the
has
day
to.
I met her.
Well, that's okay, because you know what? Everybody, the thing about it is, I think God's been showing you some stuff, right? And maybe it just takes a little while. It took me a little while. But, I just pray that, it works out for you, all right?
Yeah.
So this week, what is today? Today is Saturday, and it's the day before Easter.
Yep.
Right? So, what is, this is like the Christian holiday where Jesus died on that cross for the forgiveness of all of our sins, and he said it was finished, right? So then tomorrow's the day that he rises from the grave, so we all can have life if we just accept it, right? And I'm super grateful for that. So for you out there who've been watching our podcast, that you know, you need a do-over, you can't forgive yourself, you know, Jesus came to rescue you and to forgive you and to give you a do-over, right? That's what he's done. And you know what? He really gave you a do-over too.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It could have been a lot worse.
Definitely.
Could have been a lot worse. And then, you know, he's blessing you with stuff, with the truck and other things in your life. And you know what? So whatever you're going through today, and the thing about Jesus is he'll come to you and he'll just be patient. He'll just be patient. And he's been patient with me, and he's been patient with Kim, and he's going to continue to be patient. So, you know what, when we end here, is there something that you want to say to somebody that's sitting in a cell right now that may be just, you know, they may be surrounded by people but have no hope? You know what I mean?
I kind of, you know, I just have those instances too, like, and I knew more than likely I wasn't going to make parole because I've seen everything around me. It doesn't matter how good you are or what you do, you know, they're going to let you out when they feel like it. And you can't just let it drag you down and make you do dumb stuff whenever someone tells you no, because you've still got, you know, something to learn, something to do, and things are just going to keep going. But there are, you know, and you can't expect to get out and just get an amazing job, be senior supervisor, because I've seen people that got out of prison, they're like, well, I was a manager before I went in, I'm not going to flip pancakes on the grill because I went to college to be a manager. You know, nobody trusts you at that level a lot of times when they let you out. You have to work your way up. And, you know, there are people that are going to give you a chance, and it may not be what you want to do, but it's going to be something that you can do. And when people see that you're good, that you're doing a great job, that you're showing up, then somebody else is going to say, hey, you know, I want this person to work for me because they're doing this, they're showing up, they're always at work, you know, and then you're going to get those better chances, but you can't get out hoping to start at the very top.
Yeah, so true.
And go there.
And God's just like, just go to work.
Yep.
You just work for me. And like you said, because when you work hard, somebody will notice that and they'll want to take you. You'll get promotions, or some other career will come your way, or somebody will come if you're in the restaurant, you're like, I don't want to be in the restaurant. You never know who you're serving.
No.
Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything to say. I'm tired today.
Yeah, I can
I've
tell.
been talking 4 podcasts in a row. Boom.
Boom.
That was good. Thanks for
I
sharing.
don't know why
today.
y'all don't ever change clothes when y'all do these things.
I know.
I know. I'm starting to smell Tom.
I look best in this yellow outfit.
Yeah, what is Curious George like in real life, bro?
Who's Curious George?
Oh, that's like an old cartoon.
And he wears a yellow shirt?
Well, the man in the big yellow hat.
Yep.
His owner.
Don't know.
Okay. Never mind.
Before
Well,
my time.
I'm Tom.
Wait, I'm not done talking yet.
Oh.
No. I was just going to tell you, because when you were talking about not letting prison and stuff harden you, but it reminded me when I was going to church as a kid that a preacher had said one time that going to church doesn't make you a Christian, just like walking into your garage doesn't make you a car.
That's right.
You know.
So
And-
walking into prison doesn't make you an inmate.
Right. It doesn't make you a criminal.
Technically, that does.
Okay, well, you know.
But maybe it doesn't make you.
And I had
Maybe it doesn't make you. Prison doesn't make you.
Yeah.
I had a lady I had a teacher tell me one time while I was in the prison, she said, when you leave prison, she said, and you put on some free world clothes and some shoes, she said, nobody is ever going to know you were in prison unless you tell them.
God, how many times have I said that too? Right?
Yeah.
How many times have I said it? Like, you'll never know Kim was in prison for 12 years. Like, what? No, people just don't know unless
He
you
saw
say
me when I
something.
looked completely different, too.
Yeah, she looked like a little dude.
Yeah, they love to tell the people when they start at work, like they'll wait till they've known me for like a month, and then they'll say something, you know, we'll always talk about me being in prison or whatever, and then finally after they're there like 6 weeks to 2 months, they'll be like, can I ask you what you did? And I'll be like, yeah, I killed my boyfriend. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. They start treating you different after that, don't
They're
they?
like, I thought you were in there for like drugs or hot checks or something.
You look like a hot check right now.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. You look like a forgery person.
That's not
Yeah.
even a thing anymore. Hot checks now.
Yeah, I know, right? Now it's credit card use. So, this is it?
Yep.
This is it.
All right. Well, till next time.
Till next time.
I'm Mr. Amazing. This is Kimberly, signing out.
That's funny.
It's like
Thanks for watching our podcast today. We want to give you the opportunity to trust Jesus as your Savior if you have not done that already. Just put your trust in Him. Follow Him in faith. Know that He is the perfect sacrifice for your sins. All you have to do is say, hey, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I want to trust you. I want to follow you. I don't want to do it my way anymore. Come and live in me. I need eternal life. And you know what? Jesus will meet you right there, because the Bible says that when you do that you have eternal life. He'll never leave you or forsake you. It's amazing. I don't know what's taking you so long, but just quit wasting time, because the more you put it off, the more, not that you'll have regrets, but you'll wish you would have done it sooner. So whatever you're going through today, you trust Jesus and you let us know so we can do the happy dance with you. All right? Have a good afternoon or good evening or good morning whenever you're watching us. See you later.